As the reality of the ultimate sacrifice hits so close to home.
At our house, he is the villain.
Sometimes you just gotta use the right thing.
Hey everybody, this is Michael Greco coming at you again with That Voiceover Podcast, and my guest today is sort of the Spielberg of the anime world. He's an Emmy Award-winning writer. He's also a producer, director, writer, and a voice actor on every major anime cartoon that's ever been produced here, including Digimon, Naruto, Zatch Bell. He is Jeff Nimoy. Jeff, how you doing?
What's up, Michael?
Thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take everybody through kind of the casting process and then the acting process for voice actors when they're doing anime. So let's start with casting and what.
Well, usually I just go to the producers and I say I want to hire Michael P. Greco.
Well, and about 5% of the time that actually works.
But it's worth a shot every time.
I appreciate it.
So that's usually how I start my casting session.
And anybody there is just, it's bonus for them, really.
After that, usually, though, let's say for an anime like Naruto, that's a good example. It's the most popular anime in the world. I directed the first season of that. So the audition processes were pretty much, we listened to the Japanese originally, and then we sort of get a gist of what the characters sound like and their temperament, all that kind of stuff. And then we sort of just take pictures of them and make up some sides for those characters. And we'll bring in actors who we think can fill those roles. And we have a long, big, huge Rolodex of actors. Most directors do anyway. And you just bring in people that, usually you bring in people that you've worked with. You always want to bring in some new people too, but usually you don't know new people. So the producer will bring in people, the casting director will bring in people if there is a casting director on it, the director will bring in people. So you get to see new people by seeing other people's Rolodexes, And then we take it from there. Usually there's no lip sync in the audition process.
Okay, now let's talk about that, actually, because that's probably one of the more important parts of ADR, dubbing or doing anime, is syncing to what the Japanese have done.
Well, there are a lot of different types of animes out there, and a lot of different type of, shows that are. Anime is just a style of animation, but there are a lot of different shows from Japan that are owned by different companies, distributors, whatever, and they all have their notions of how the show should go. Naruto, for instance, wanted to stay very, very close to the original Japanese. Now you take a show like Stitch, which is the anime version of Lilo and Stitch, which I wrote in the first season, and they want you to just pretty much throw away the translation and just go from there, which I prefer, especially prefer to write that way. It's a lot more creative. Stitch might not be a great example because you have to voice match existing characters from the Disney series and move, and
right.
That's the casting process for that. But regardless, the dubbing process of it, all the animation is done already, so we have to wipe clean the soundtrack and have the actors voice the characters in exact lip sync that they're already talking in, So it helps to have actors who are very good at that. A lot of people who are in loop groups have a lot of experience doing things like that, or have maybe done a movie that they've had to loop their own voice for, and they have to match their lip flaps to the screen, things like that. But in the audition process, we don't usually do it to picture. So if it's someone new that I like their voice, I'll ask them if they had any experience looping, and then hope they're not lying to me if I cast them.
And there was something that I was extremely good at, which was you get beeped into every take, and you hear 3 beeps, and you start on the 4th
imaginary beep.
Beep. And
it's sort of like a timing device, like a drummer counting down in a band.
And I pretty much jumped that 4th imaginary beep the first 2 years. Well,
I don't
always.
remember that. I don't
still
think
do.
You did that with me. You probably tortured some other director.
So if you have 2 voices that are very, very similar for a character, let's say you hear the character, this is the guy's voice. What do you think would distinguish? Well, this is why this guy got it or that guy got it.
Well, it never comes down to the voice at that point. It usually comes down to professionalism. If an actor is easy to work with, as opposed to, say, a prima donna. Or some people are prima donnas. If you are, you have to have an amazing voice, and be a great actor as well. But it'll come down to, like, if I've worked with them before and they know my style, which as you know, I move very, very fast. And I'd rather just go with someone I worked with before than take a chance on someone new. That's just the sad fact of the business, because it's all about, for the director, it's not always the creative aspect. Once you have the creative voices in mind, you're also a manager, a budget manager of time and of money, other people's money. And if I cost them money, they'll never hire me again. So if you cost me money, you'll never work for me again. That's the way it works.
In choosing a specific voice then for the character, are you trying to match something that is close to what the Japanese original actor did, or just sort of what you have in your head that this guy looks like and should sound like?
Again, that also comes down to two things. For Naruto, I think, if I can remember right, they wanted something similar in voice. Robotes is a good example. I did Robotes, and I just was able to cast all the voices from my head, regardless of what the Japanese did. But again, that depends on my boss.
So it's true, even though you may choose, I want these people, they're still going to go, no, we like this guy, we got that guy. I mean,
right. I actually, on some things I do, you never really get final decision. They always have veto power over you. But on some shows, you get more leeway. Digimon is the show I'm most famous for. I directed the first 2 seasons of that and the 5th season. And by the time the 5th season came along, I pretty much was able to just say, these are the people I wanted. And they either said, well, we'd prefer this voice on this character, but, if you want that, Jeff, we'll let you have it. But that's rare. Most of the time, you have to choose maybe 3 or 4 of your final picks. I'm not going to put, someone I don't want to work with for 50 episodes on that list. So you put 3 or 4 actors on a list for each character, and then you say, these are my first choice, second choice, third choice, fourth choice. Sometimes it comes down to the actor schedule, too. I wanted to hire an actor once, and they went and did a movie in Toronto for 6 months, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't use them. So it comes down to that, too. There's a lot of intangibles out there. So then they come back, usually the parent company, and say, yes, we agree with your choice 1. For this character, we'd prefer you go with this person, hands down, no arguments. And that's how the cast list is built, pretty much.
So most important for the actor then is, since it's really just their voice. If they like their voice, great. If not, too bad. But you have to be able to dub. You need to be professional, and you need to, show up on time, I guess.
Well, on time is a big thing, yeah. Time and money. Someone told me this a long time ago when I was an actor, and when I became a director, it rang so true and still does. If you ever cost a director time or money, you will never work for that director again. And it's just true. I've got too much balance down there to wait for somebody who, is late for lunch, things like that. It's, your problems aren't my problems, just like my problems aren't yours, I've got to kick, it's like the mafia. I got to kick upstairs to somebody else. You got to kick upstairs to me and show up on time. So, when the actor first comes in for the audition, obviously feel free to ask questions. We don't always have the answers, Sometimes we don't know what we want until we hear it as well. But anyway, ask as many questions as you can. Don't annoy anyone, and get in and out, because that's one audition out of 1,000 that you're going to do in a given week. And you have to forget about it. Don't hound the director with, did I get it? Did I get it? Unless you're personal friends with the director like you and I are.
Right.
That's one thing. But if you're just a professional actor and we only have a professional relationship, and you happen to have my email address or a phone number from previous projects, do not call me and constantly ask.
And I will say that you and I have been friends for a very long time, but not every project that I've auditioned for you have I gotten a part in, and not through anything I did, or not through anything that you, not saying you didn't recommend me, but it's just
right.
it got kicked upstairs, and they said, nah, we like the other guy better, whatever, and that's
and also just because you and I are friends, I have to be professional too. I can't put you on that final 4 list every single time if I don't feel you're right for that character.
Right.
So it happens that way too.
So the rule is, don't just become friends. All right. So let's
just an audition. And
it's just an audition.
It's not personal.
Right.
If it is personal, you'll never hear from it from a director if it really is personal. You'll just never work for that director, and you'll know.
So once you have the part and you're in the room, what is the way you direct? I know there are other directors who preview Japanese, and then you do the line. You however work differently.
Yeah, my process is whenever an actor asks for a preview in Japanese, I always ask, do you speak Japanese? And I've yet to hear someone say yes, I only know 2 actors that do speak Japanese, and they never want to preview the Japanese. So I say, well, if you don't speak Japanese, you can watch it in silence if you want, but I don't want you, the actor, influenced by the Japanese. I want something organic coming out of you, and you're not going to get that if you're just mimicking, some, huh? They preview, huh? I'm like, how what is that going to get you? Huh? Let me hear the Japanese, please. I'm not sure how I want to do this, huh? Okay, you just wasted 3 takes on a huh? Forget it. We're never working with you. So I like to just go. Take a shot the first thing because, a lot of times that first instinct is so right. Most of the times it's not, but a lot of times it is. And it's organic, when you hear something for the first time, when you try something for the first time. You never know what you're going to get. I'm not against doing second takes, believe me. I do plenty of takes, but I just like that. I think that first take is very good, a lot of times, and people don't realize it. And you almost throw it away and waste it on a preview, because you form it in your head.
And I think that a lot of times the second take is if the thing about anime is, of course, you don't record as a group. You record out of order. You bring in other actors at other times. So you could have one actor do a line before, and then my line won't match up to how he ended his. So you're like, you know what? Let me show you what he did, and then you can do your line after that.
That's an excellent point. But acting is reacting. And if you watch something for the first time, and you're reacting to the character's face in anime for the emotion, and you can see the character on screen because you're matching to lip sync. So if you sort of experience it as you see what you're supposed to be looking like and acting, that is a reaction, and that's why I like that first take. And most times, like you just said, if you're going first in a scene and you don't have another actor to play off of, that facial expression is all you have to go off of. I wish the animation was a little more expressive sometimes, but I can't help that.
So a lot of really what you're directing the voice actor on is really, first of all, make sure it fits. Second of all, just give me your emotion. If it doesn't fit, you'll do other takes.
Right. And you know what else? If I really like a first take, there are ways now. It's not like the old days where you had to record exactly on, something called tape. We had this thing, Daddy, what's videotape? It wasn't digital yet. And you had to get it right, and it would not be unheard of to do 25 takes for one line. It wouldn't be normal, but it wouldn't be unheard of. Today, you have Pro Tools, and you can do little things here and there. You can expand frames, you can squeeze them, you can condense them, you can do all kinds of things, slide them back and forth, and you can make things fit,
Jeff, I think that about covers it. Thanks for being our guest on that Voiceover Podcast and explaining the wonderful world of ADR.
No problem, Mikey. Good luck to everybody out there.
Thanks, man. Take it easy.